cantarina or something.
Okay.
It's like a little
Accordion?
yeah, like a little accordion.
Yeah.
So she
Squeeze
plays
box, as we say in the
squeeze
South.
box. Yeah, yeah. So she plays that, and
Wow.
um, she does. They're called. Oh, what are they called? I forget. Like like when jazz gets together here and they have like sessions. She does sessions, so they just
Mm-hmm.
get together in a bar.
Sure. Freestyle.
Yeah, and they
Yeah.
just play. It's so fun.
So growing up, what was your actual town that you grew up in?
I grew up in a place called Leeslip.
Leeslip.
Yeah, yeah.
And what was your local? What was the name of the pub?
Um, well, there's the Salmon Leap.
The
But
Salmon Leap.
yeah,
I like that.
I think that's what it was called. But I worked in this place called the Courtyard, so we kind of just, and then where would we drink? I guess we would drink there. But yeah, Lisa, oh, it was just a mental place. It was like a very small town. Then, a Hewlett Packard and Intel came there, and so then all these people moved there, all these like young families, and had loads of kids. And so then when I grew up, it was like the most teenagers in one spot. It's like
Whoa.
if you did a show about it, it'd be like Skins on ketamine. It was crazy, and there was no Garda station, which is our police station, for years.
Yeah.
And my dad even said it was you'd never see as many teenagers in one spot. And I went back recently because my family have moved to the countryside, and I felt like I was being gaslit by the town because it's so clean. There was no teenagers.
Wow.
The grocery store was in reverse, so it was very like Stranger Things. But yeah, so that was kind of mental to grow up. Like we were drinking since we were like 11, drinking in the fields, making bonfires. It was just the craziest place.
Well, the Irish place, the Garda, and I've asked people over the years, like, that, because to me that sounds like a Latin word, and they go, oh no, it's Gaelic.
Yeah, yeah.
Garda.
So the language is Gaeilge. And yeah, it just Garda Ní Síochána, which is Guardians of the Peace. But I think, I haven't lived there in 10 years, other than going home every few times. But growing up, the guards that did come were pretty nice. They just look very disappointed in you. They just be like, will you just go home? This is embarrassing. And you'd be like, okay.
Do you know Daniel Sloss, the Scottish comedian?
Yeah.
So he was in here before a couple of times, and of course, growing up in Scotland, he grew up in East Fife, and he said that the goalie for the second division soccer team at East Fife was also their binman. And so when they'd pick up the rubbish, they would give him a lot of stick. And I like that kind of like homey little thing. So I would think like the Garda would be like, I know your father.
Yeah.
And
Well,
don't make me call him.
well, so my dad is a guard.
Ah.
And so he's retired now, and he was a guard of a different place, but he has like a really good sense of humor with it as well. Like sometimes we'd be going to this place called Liffey Valley and just be walking down the street, and somebody would be like, how are you, to my dad, and my dad would be like, oh, how are you? And then I'd be like, how do you know him? And my dad would be like, oh, like I arrested him like a week ago. And so they were always like a good relationship with it. Or my dad would be like joking, calling me bacon, and I'd be like, why? And he'd be like, because pigs make bacon, So he has like a really good sense of humor with his gardeness.
You kind of have to have a good sense of humor, right?
Yeah, yeah, and he's really nice. He did this speech at his retirement that I was like, oh God. I was like, you should go to America and give a speech, because he had worked in this area that was a poor area back home, but the problem was the government hadn't given them the facilities that they needed. And when you think about Ireland, it's still like a young enough country, and there was like a lot of trauma. So, but he was saying, so when the people in that area got mad at the police, they're not mad at you. You're a conduit for their hate. They just can't get to the government. So you have to just, not internalize it and not get mad back, and just realize that they're not really blaming you, and not so that way you don't, yell back or be.
Don't take it like
yeah.
the person at the Delta counter.
Yeah.
Taking all that abuse, and they didn't make the flight delayed.
Yeah, and I think it's like such a great way to think about things for anyone, so that you don't, get angry, or sort of, it's not, you're just in any job at all.
I remember a friend of mine telling me that his wife had family in Ireland, and they went over to Ireland, and they were going through the countryside, and they were looking for a restaurant. They couldn't find anything, and finally saw this place with a couple of patio chairs and umbrellas, and they thought, oh, finally a cafe. And they sat down, and a lady came out and said, what can I get you? And they said, oh, just a couple menus. And she goes, well, I don't have a menu, but I can do this, 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 or this. And so they picked out two things. And then she goes, you want more lemonade? Whatever. And at the end they said, can we have the check? And she's like, this is my house. It's not a restaurant. And they were like, oh my gosh, we're so humiliated. Let us give you money. And she's like, no, you're grand. It's my pleasure.
Yeah.
That makes everyone in Ireland sound so lovely.
I mean, yeah, if my grandmother has passed away, if you had knocked on her door, she would 100%. I remember one time she got robbed, and she wasn't even mad at the robbers. She came home and she was just like, "Oh yeah, I got robbed." And she goes, "The worst thing is though, I actually forgot to buy the eggs." So, or even when my parents divorced, my grandmother would still have my dad over for lunch, just like behind my mother's back. But she'd be like, "But he's so nice. Your mother's crazy. He's lovely."
Well, he's the father of her granddaughter, too. Right?
Yeah, but it's definitely a very hospitable culture. I definitely think so.
One more story like that. On that same trip, they stayed at this very expensive hotel in Dublin. And the guy who ran it was a cousin of his wife. And so at the end, he's checking out, and it should have been about, $1,000 or whatever. And the guy said, your money's no good here, your family. And he said, we're not family, we're so distant. And he goes, I'm not going to take a penny. And so he had a wad of cash, and so he went back up to the room and he just put it on the dresser. And then they drove like a half hour to the airport, and they're waiting in the lounge at the airport. And here comes the guy like 20 minutes later with the cash. I told you I'm not taking the cash now. You take it back right now. He was like furious.
Yeah, and that type of culture does not set you up well for America. Because I'd be like, I've got this, and then people be like, Jesus, Katie's very generous. Now I'm paying for everything all the time. And I'm like, no, you're meant to like fight me back. You're meant to get the next one.
Yeah, so at what point, we're almost out of time here, at what point did you say, you know what, I'm funny, I'm going up there, or people said, you gotta go up?
I made friends when I first came over, and they were from South America, and I'd just be telling them stories, and they were like, you should do stand-up. And I guess at home, everybody's just, that's part of how you chat. So then I did, and then I loved it, and that was kind of it. But it was just coming out of Ireland. Plus, it's hard. We all kind of talk over each other, and we're all like topping each other with stories at home. And then I come from a big family that it's hard to get a chance to even just see if we find out if you're funny. And just when I was telling them stories, they were just like, you have to talk about this on stage. You have to do stand-up. And that was 10 years ago. So. And
I just think about getting a solid 5 and then a good 15, but then to build it into an hour, that's very impressive.
Yeah, I knew none of that when I started. I didn't follow comedy. I just got up on stage and thought, oh, this is fun. And then a lot of comedians who come to New York had come from other places, and so they were really like trying it. But for me, it was just like, I just enjoyed this and we'll see what happens. And then I just kept doing it, and older comics were like, oh, you have to get a 5, you have to get but for the hour, I had booked recording my special. And at that time, I hadn't even been on the road headlining or anything like that.
Wow.
I was just used that to get on the road, and I would say to venues like, oh, I'm going to be recording a special in 6 months, can I headline? And then on shorter sets I would be like, okay, I'll do this 15 and the other 15 to make it up, and then I taped it, and then it did so well on YouTube that I was able to then use that to go out more on the road. So it's kind of just winging it, though. There's no really rhyme or reason. Just do it as much as possible. And yeah.
And before we let you go, too, tell everyone about The Shift.
Oh, yeah, it's a podcast that I've been doing for like 8 years, and I need to put up an episode because I have ADHD, so I keep forgetting to put up episodes. So I'm going to put up a new one today. But the people who listen know that it'll be either 2 episodes a month or maybe 1 or 4. It's very, but it's all about sort of just talking about things openly. Like I learned loads of stuff over here, like mental health. I never went to therapy, but it is a pyramid scheme here, but I love it. I think it's a great one, and I think you should go to therapy. But yes, I talk about therapy or mental health. People talk about dating, just really kind of just the tea chats. So I'll put up a new episode this weekend.
Katie Boyle at the Punchline. Come on down. Make sure to get your tickets. Punchline San Francisco. 2 shows tonight, 2 shows tomorrow. So great to meet you. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
All right, I'm Rick Tittle. We'll take a quick break. We'll come on back on Byline.
Who's watching? Tell me who's watching? Who's watching me? I always feel like somebody's watching me, and I have no privacy. I always feel like somebody's watching me. Tell me, is it just a dream? When I come home
you can get the incredible weight loss results that thousands of